Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the sixth episode of In the Corners with Reese
Nice.
Boy and Matt Good. We are the UVic hockey broadcast team, and we're here to bring you a weekly rundown of all things BCIHL. How you doing today, Matt?
Hey, Reese, good to see you. Good to be here with you and everybody out there. We're taping at night, getting ready for Halloween. The leaves are flying. The Vikes
Yep.
are at home in action.
Yep.
Excited to be here. Let's do it. Let's get in the corners, as they
So
say.
on Friday, October 1st, the Vikes got up to their first home opener game. Wasn't the result they were looking for. It was an 8-4 SFU win. We know we'll give you a little rundown of that after. And on Saturday, the Logan Lake Miners met up against the Okanagan Lakers and took a 5-2 regulation loss. And the SFU REDLEAFS, 2 games in a row doubleheader, went to Nanaimo to play against the Mariners and took a 7-1 win. So that is a statement right there. So Matt, what gives? So to let you guys know, SFU now takes the lead in the standings. They got 10 points, 6 games played. And now, kind of interestingly, the Lakers actually go into second with the same amount of points and essentially the same record as VIU. And I'm assuming it has something to do with goal differential or something. But yeah, they take the number 2 spot. So moving up from I think they were third. So I think they move up. Yeah, they were ahead of UVic. And UVic and Logan Lake sit at the bottom with 0 points, 0-3 and 0. And yeah, Matt, give a quick breakdown of what you saw in color commentary on Friday.
All right, right on. Well, good for the Lakers there in second place. October 21st, the home opener for the Vikes. We were all there.
Yep.
We were down there. It was a packed house. There wasn't a seat left in there. I don't know if there's even seats in there, but there are some. It was all sold out.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about the game. SFU had 48 shots on net, one for 2 on the power play. UVic 28 shots on net, about half. 0 for 5 on the power play. The first period, 1-0. The hotel, Garrett Hilton, he scored from Wicks. That goal caught us off guard because it was an awesome pass.
It's quick.
5 minutes in, and then the hotel, Hilton, he scored again. Kara Mischief, Wicks, and Kara Mischief scored the third goal. It was 3-0 pretty quick. It was 3-0 halfway through the first period. But, the Vikes had chances on the power play at 1-0 and 2-0. They were trying to get some shots in there. The Vikes did score in the first period. Stratton Pickett scored coming down the right-hand side on a rush.
Yep.
That got the crowd going. That was a great call by you, Reese, and everybody was hollering. So after the first period,
Pickett, that was a great time to show up. It was good. It was that was an exciting point of the game.
It was a great play, and they were coming on pretty good there. Did you remember that? How are you feeling after the first period?
Well, yeah, I thought the momentum was swinging in the Vikes' direction, and more or less. But one thing that I'll kind of go into a little bit more is the breakout. They just have a hard time dealing with the speed and the skill of the SFU forwards. And with the Mariners, it was less of a skill thing, in my opinion. They have a lot of skill D, but with the Mariners, it was less of a skill difference, but rather, mistakes and just little things that you can correct along the way. But against SFU, it was a true display of talent. Like,
yeah,
there was a lot of points where I felt that UVic kind of did everything they could have, and it was just a great shot that kind of beat them. I think it was like the 4th goal or the 5th for the REDLEAFS, where Hilton just comes flying in on that left side and puts a top left crossbody. It's just I didn't even think the defenseman at the time was in the wrong place at all, but it was just genius. So that's right. So that's a little bit out of your control, but overall, if you correct the breakout, if you're a little bit more tight in the neutral zone and you're stronger on the boards, then you can probably prevent a couple of those goals. But still, an unbelievable display from SFU.
It was. Let's go into that second period now. 3-1 for SFU. Logan Spears scores right away in the second period. Remember that one the puck came back to Benger and he just whipped it on there.
Yeah.
Spears knocked it in. Good job there, because they're not always pretty. You got to knock them in. That's something we were talking about against SFU.
Right.
go in there and try to make something happen
Exactly.
in a different way that, if it's not working for you, change it up.
Exactly.
And so easier said than done though.
Sure.
So then it starts to kind of, after that goal, SFU, they don't like being in tight games. SFU, they don't like when the score is close, they get ticked off.
Yeah. They move pretty quick outside of that.
It happened to the Mariners the next day. It happened to the Vikes. They popped in 3 in 3 minutes. Ledyard, Coltolero, and Ledyard again. Ledyard is a good leader for them. We like him.
Yeah.
Hilton, he's on all this. He ended up with 5 points, Hilton, in this game, the hotel.
Yeah, that's great.
Ledyard is kind of there. He's like the bulldog, right?
He's everywhere. Yeah, he's a hard worker and he's skilled too.
And the way the SFU goes, it's hard to even understand what's happening with you, Vic, for me. I can't tell, I'm looking for the defensemen. Where are they? Who's playing? But Wicks and that line, they are trouble. Like, that's a big problem. It's hard to follow what they're doing, but for sure, it's easy for me to follow this. They scored a bunch. They got up 6-2, 7-2 right at the end. And I think that's when Pilon was pulled in favor of Drapeau.
Yeah.
7-2 after the second period. And the energy was kind of gone at that point. Going into the third, Rhys, do you remember what was going on there?
Yeah, no, it was a little bit of it was still, I still felt there was momentum coming in. I thought they could come out and just with the level of scoring that we saw in the game in general, right? I was like, okay, well, this could be a high scoring close game, but
yeah,
it definitely went in the other direction. Yeah, a flurry of goals continued, but the good thing about the third period is it was definitely an improvement from the other two periods. They found a way to, let in less goals than they did in the first two, which is, a little general of a statement, but in depth, they just played harder. I felt like they got more chances. They got their confidence back and realized like maybe the game's out of our reach, but there's no point in sitting back and kind of letting it get completely out of hand. They found a way to keep it back as best they could. And, just to refer back to the talent level that SFU has, they just have ease in scoring. And at times it felt it was out of control. And then at times, obviously it could have been prevented. But those are things they can just kind of go back to the film and check up on and work on throughout the season. It's, it's not the longest season, but there's still time to improve, and there's still lots of chances.
Oh, yeah.
Against, they haven't played Logan Lake yet, and they haven't even matched up against the Lakers. So, matched up as well as that we'd like to see to, completely measure the difference between the two teams. And I think the tournament time will be an important period to see where teams are at. Once we get to that, there'll only be a couple more games left in the season, and that'll kind of, dictate how the playoffs are going to turn out. So yeah, interesting to see.
Yeah, we talked about that in the second intermission. Like you said, still had a good feeling in the rink. Lots of people were there. All the supporters were there.
No one left, which was a cool thing. I was glad to see that. Nobody, I think maybe a couple groups left, but not a lot of people did. A lot of them stayed. It looked like the same big audience was there the whole game, which is, you love to see it.
You love to see it. And you know what, we talked about that playing as a team, being like, okay, you're in a kind of a tough spot, down 7-2. Your goalie's been chased. You're kind of getting snake bit on the power play, but going into the third, see if you can win it.
Exactly.
You can't let the champs just come in and steal all your popcorn at your home opener. Yeah. So the Vikes did a great job in the third. They won the period 2-1. Connor Nolan took the puck, flew down, and just ran into the goalie and put the puck in. Basically, pulled it out of his pocket and put it in the net. That was an awesome goal. I love that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of like the Spears one. It wasn't a highlight reel one, but it kind of was for us. We liked that. We love to see it.
Yep.
Parkhouse, he made it 8-3. And then Ryan Strange, one of the freshmen. Is that right? Strange is a freshman on the team?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he scores right at the end of the game. It counted. It was 8-4 at the end. It was good to see. I like that last goal too. It won in the period, like we said. And it also, the coach put a lot of faith in the young players in this game. We saw a lot more young players. So that wraps up the scoring breakdown. SFU won the game 8-4.
Yep.
Over the Vikes.
Yep. And sorry, what were we gonna ask?
Well, what do you think, Rhys? Do you have any couple more thoughts about that before we move on to some one-timers?
Well, you know, all I can really say about it is it's another statement from this SFU team. You know, going off of the first 4 games in the season, you know, the Mariners were on top, and they look in with that close game that they had against the Red Leafs. It kind of gave you a different idea of what the season's going to look like. You figured that, okay, well, maybe it's a different year and the Mariners are going to take a step up, and same with the Lakers, and SFU is not going to be that same 12-0 dominating team of last year, but they're still there and they're still scary. They're still just as
Yeah.
intimidating as they were last year, just in a different way. You know,
I see that too.
Yeah, I think it's not rather the SFU got worse, but the other teams got better. I think that the competition kind of rose a little bit, but SFU is still ready to make statements and to get through adversity and to, you know, take the games that were closer. And for the last 2 weeks, it's been nothing close. It's just been high scoring.
Maybe SFU had a little bit of a hangover or whatever from their championship run. They won that game in Alaska.
Yeah.
And they did not like being in close games. They don't like the Mariners beating them. They went and kicked them around. You know, SFU, they're kind of, early in the year we saw them, they're kind of skillful. They definitely are skillful, but they're pretty edgy too.
Yeah.
Like they're not easy. They're not easy to catch. They're not easy to get the puck away from, and they're not easy physically. Jennings, remember the guy with the hair? He was rocking and rolling. Parkhouse is huge. He's great. Hilton's a big player. So they got a lot going for them, to say the least. And but that's, you know, we're just giving them a little credit. You know,
they deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, the Vikes can score on them. The Vikes can score on Dolan. And so a little bit of that too. RHYS, how about we do a couple one-timers here before we
I think
go to the game.
Let's do it.
Okay. We have been giving SFU a little bit of credit here. One quick point, their defense core is rad. Their superstars are Wicks, Hilton, and Ledyard, but on defense, Cross, Karamishchev, Chin, Jennings, Tishka, Chu, and Robinson. We want to give a shout out to them because they had the puck quite a bit, right? And they're moving it on the blue line. And we talked about that a lot. We want to bring that up and get your thoughts on them right now.
Yeah, like, you know, it's one thing to have the talent that they have up front, which is, you know, Nick Wicks is all over it. And that line does see a lot of ice time, but it's also not a line that they're abusing. Like, they're not just like, okay, make sure they're on the ice and don't give the other guys minimum ice time. No, the other players were there to play too, and they played hard. They made it really hard, the neutral zone, to get the puck through. They made it really hard for that penalty kill is key. Like, you know, I do think the Vikes are struggling with their power play on no doubt, but their penalty kill was strong. Like they were making it impossible to get easy goals and easy passes and easy shots, right? So in my opinion, although, you know, Nick Wicks with 15 points in 6 games, I mean, come on.
That's quite amazing,
but my attention is kind of taken away by the defense, just because they do such a good job of facilitating the puck back to them. They're really good at their lines. Like, one of the things that I've brought up many times about the Vikes defense that kind of worries me is they tend to make mistakes in the offensive zone at the blue line. There's a lot of times where I've seen the puck come back to one of the D men, and he has to make a decision, and the decision comes a little late, and then poke check, and next thing you know, it's a 2-on-1 or it's a breakaway or it's something like that. That's happened a lot. And I think versions of that as well has happened in the SFU game, which led to a lot of the breakouts that ended up destroying them. So, you know, that's one thing you got to really appreciate about SFU is when that puck came back to the blue line, it was gone quick, and they made the right decisions, finding space and exploiting it, making passes when they needed to, and just keeping possession of the puck overall, which is allowing them to get the points that they have.
Yeah, I like your point about the penalty kill for SFU. You know, this is a good sign, though. The Vikes had their chances. You know, when you get a power play, it's because you worked hard for it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, sometimes a person will punch you in the face or whatever, or trip you. But oftentimes it's because you're skating hard. You're going down there. The guy gets afraid. The guy gets afraid and he trips you, right? So that looks good on you, Vic. Their effort. When they were down 1-0 on the power play, Eddie put one off the plexiglass, like a slap shot. And Strange had a bit of a breakaway.
Yep.
So, you know, we're giving SFU their shine for sure, but I just have that feeling the Vikes are right there a lot of the time with these guys. They're right there. A couple power play, a goal here or there when it's 2-0 or when it's 1-0. You pop a couple in on the power play, the game is totally different.
Exactly.
So that is kind of what we're talking about here. The PK from SFU and the Vikes, it just went SFU's way in that section of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Hey, why don't we go? Well, before we go on, any standout performances for you from the Vikes?
Yeah, I didn't mind Pickett. I thought once he got that first goal, he was working hard and he wanted to get some more. And I didn't think he was like offensively flashy. I didn't think he was out there getting lots of shots or creating lots of chances, but rather he just worked hard. He did his job for the rest of the game and tried to set a good example. And I think he did a good job, and it did carry on. I felt like the Vikes worked hard. I definitely don't think it was a laziness thing that contributed to the result, but I like Pickett. I thought Pickett was a good highlight for the Vikes.
Yeah, in the same way, Sweeney, he came in and played. He was kind of doing those kind of Pickett-like things, wasn't he?
Right.
He was kind of being kind of a rascal in there. And shout out.
Involved.
I mean, I love Connor Nolan's goal. At one point, when he crashed into the net, at one point he was trying to score, but he was getting frustrated and he just kind of slapped it.
Yeah.
He was they were down 7-2 or something, and he was like, "To heck with this! I'm just putting it on net." Maybe that's something that the Vikes could do in the future, is put it more on goal.
I think you're right about that. I think shooting from all angles, if you're not able to make perfect little passing plays, kind of like SFU did, or crazy talented breakouts from the left circle where he just takes speed and good stick handling to get into space and then create a chance by himself. And if they can't do that, put it on the net, because then you dump it in, or you do whatever you got to do to get it into their zone and you put it on net. Things happen, right? If you're crashing the net and you're working hard, the puck's going to come popping out, and next thing you know, it's a goal, right? So yeah, and if all else fails, put the puck on the net.
Yeah, I'll give another little shout out to Pilon. He's 0-3 starting. He hung in there when it was 3-2, when it was 3-1, when it was 3-2. Remember the SFU goal that went off the backboards and came out really fast?
Yeah.
He needs to put a rabbit foot in his pocket for the next game, just because there's a couple bad lucks going against him. So,
right.
Little shout out there.
Hey. Yeah.
Shall we move on, or you got another one?
I think I'm gonna say this. We do have a couple interviews coming. As you could tell by the title, we got a couple people that are volunteering with us, and they're alongside the viewing party. They're right next to the broadcast team. They help us set up, and we wanted to get their take on the game. We wanted to hear what they saw and some things they're looking forward to, and also ask them questions about themselves. So you can get a little bit familiar with who's a part of this great Vikes hockey club. But the only reason why I'm wrapping it up slightly earlier than we usually run it is we're going to want to fit this episode in with some time with them. So, yeah, we don't know specifically who they're going to be, so we'll leave it a little bit of a surprise. And yeah, after we wrap this up, it'll just transition straight into that interview. But Matt, did you have any closing remarks about the games in the weekend? Maybe the standings or something?
Oh, that sounds great. I had a great time down there for the home opener. We got on the air and got to see the Vikes down there.
Yeah,
they're
check it on Hockey TV.
Yeah, they're still up there. They're in the bottom of the standings now. Yes. I really think they can get once they get one or two under their belt, and once they get a bit knowing about who they are as identity as a team. Let's watch and see what they do.
You mentioned that a lot during the broadcast as their identity, and you're definitely right about that. I gotta find it.
Individually, they had some great players. Benger, that's a lot to take on. The SFU, some of the defensemen stood up good. So as that comes into form, we're going to love to see them making their way through the schedule.
Absolutely.
This season.
Well, thank you so much for tuning into our portion, but stay tuned for the interviews we're going to throw in after this. And so enjoy the interviews. Thank you for watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying tuned in this In the Corners episode of the week. It's the 6th episode, but today's a little special. Happy Halloween from us at the UVic hockey broadcast team. My costume is Slash's cousin. He decided to take up the clarinet. He learned the hard way. It wasn't as cool as the guitar, but ladies and gentlemen, we weren't able to get an interview, okay? But don't fret, because we decided to open up the phone lines and to get a couple voicemails from you, the fans, to give a couple suggestions and some different angles this 0-3 UVic Vikes hockey team can take, going into the rest of the season. So we're going to open up the phone lines. I think the first guy we got is Ted from Bienfait, Saskatchewan. So good to hear that the folks in Saskatchewan are listening. It's you love to see it. All right, so let's do this. First call.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey there, Reese. Hey, big fan, first time caller. This is Ted from Bienfait calling. I got a couple ideas here for the Vikes. I know they're 0-3. What they gotta do, Reese, is start by pulling the goalie. Doesn't matter. 0-0, 1-0. Second period, maybe 2-0. Pull the goalie. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Third period, 2-2. Pull the goalie. Doesn't matter. You're gonna have a lot of scoring chances. Secondly, I think they should institute a rule to keep the national anthems going the entire game. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which national anthem it is. Could be pretty distracting to the other team. Reese, keep it on going. Tell these guys about it. Doesn't matter. Keep it going. Love your show, Reese. Take it easy.
Okay. First of all, put the chickens back in the coop, bro. I don't know what type of farm you got running, but I couldn't hear you over the roosters trying to roost in the background, my friend. Get out of the barn and send the message. What's going on there? But honestly, thanks for the respect for the show. But I don't know if you're new to the game of hockey, but when you pull the goalie, you got an open net. So all it would take is a bunch of Hail Mary passes from the other end to go, to go 1-0. That's a silly suggestion. I respect your interest in the Vikes, but come on, we can do better than that. And then you want the national anthem playing? You didn't say which national anthem. All right, you said it doesn't matter, so we can have the Zimbabwe national anthem blasting throughout each period during the game. What exactly would that do to the broadcast team, okay? Again, these are very silly suggestions. All right, I don't want to be the one that has to explain this to you. You can't do that. You simply can't. Okay, we're going to move on from that. But that was Ted from Bienfait. Thanks for the message, but give your noggin a shake, you Saskatooner.
Hey, Reese. Hey, man. It's Sean calling, man. Hope you're having a wicked time. I'm just getting back from Tofino right now. I wanted to call because the Vikes need to shoot more from the defense, man. 1, 2, 3, one-timers, two-timers. Man, they need to get more shots on the goal. Be like Steph Curry, man. Just leave that. Take a three-pointer. That way you can rack up a lot of goals that way, man. Get Bruce Boudreau in there taking threes. Bruce, there it is. Get the Canucks in there. A lot of three-pointers, man. And enjoy it. Thanks for taking my call. See you down there at the rink, man.
Okay, that started off really well. That started out really good, Mark from Lethbridge. But I don't know why you're bringing up other sports when it's hockey, okay? There's no Steph Curry. There's Alex Ovechkin and Matthews. That's your choice. I respect Steph, Chef, Curry, but that's not what we're talking about here. So I would like to reiterate your point, though. I do agree. I do think we do need to take a little bit more shots from the point. I think they try. I think they try to facilitate it as best they can. They especially on the power play, they're putting it back there, to the blue line for Dego or Gattenby to either make a nice little slap pass, a nice little shot that's tippable out front. But that's definitely something that they could work on. So I like the suggestion there, Mark. Definitely way better than Ted. Jeez, I don't know why we had to disrespect the ears of the viewers with that one, but Mark, thank you very much for your suggestion. I don't know where you went with that whole Bruce Boudreau, rant at the end. I don't know how he got in. I don't know how Bruce there it is. I think your head's just kind of spitting out different things you heard on ESPN today. So again, maybe reiterate, go back, do some more reading on the game of hockey, my friend. Okay, there's no 3 points in hockey also. All right. Okay. Not sure why that needs to be said on a hockey show, but we're going to move on. This is Mickey from Shawnigan Lake. Let's hear it.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey there, Reese, Ted calling you back. Can you hear me? Am I on? All right, well, Reese, it doesn't matter. They got to get some power plays going. They got to institute a new rule where the Vikes go on a power play and they can use a dirt bike. They'll go down there on their dirt bike. It can be indoors, doesn't matter. That won't get you too bad, and they can get some more shots on goal.
Enough. I'm cutting that off. Guys, you made a mockery of the phone line, okay? I know we're not the biggest program here, but you're making a mockery of the phone lines, okay? But you can make mistakes, all right? Like last week, actually, I don't know if 2 weeks ago, I was doing the home opener. I was doing some broadcasts, and a swear word came out of my mouth, and the team ended up hearing it, and the coach came up, and he came out to me and didn't even give me a chance to respond, just said, "Hey, we heard you swearing." Bow! Slap me. Open hand, side of the face. Conor McGregor. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, that's a joke. That's a Halloween special joke. It's a joke. That was a joke from me, okay? It was a mistake when I swore, but this time it's a joke. But Ted, you can't leave 2 messages. We told you. Hey, my producer, the first time you called, he said, "Don't call again, Ted. You leave 1 message and that's it." Okay, so we're going to move on to the next one. Ted, can't believe that. You didn't even, I think he stepped out of the barn for that one. I couldn't hear chickens in the back, so, ugh. All right, hopefully the next one is more of a serious submission, more of a good suggestion. All right, let's hear it.
Check it out, man. I'm playing the drums. I'm learning how to play the drums. I'm learning how to play the drums on the mic answering machine. The mic answering machine.
Okay. I'm sorry you had to hear that last one. I thought we were done, but Ted decides to disrespect your ears with the drums. He threw the drums on? I mean, what is this? Does this guy got anything better to do? I know you do, but there's one thing I also know about you. I know you probably got better suggestions than the ones you heard this time. So next time around, check our Twitter, because we're going to open up the phone lines and you guys can leave some messages and we're going to review them on the show and do a little bit of debates. They can be the hottest takes, the coldest takes, whatever takes you want. But we're going to let this Halloween special carry out for the rest of the year. It's not going to be Halloween. It's going to change because with time going by, the holidays and the occasions are going to change. But you could still call in. You can bring some suggestions. And yeah, guys, I don't know what to say. I'm a little speechless from, listening to 3 Teds and 1 decent one from Mark. But Mark was clearly a bigger basketball fan than a hockey fan. So thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry we couldn't get an interview, and instead you had to deal with this. But it's okay, because I'm sure the next time we open up those phone lines, we'll get some good suggestions and some debate. We'll, some heated debate. Hopefully it'll be one of those. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the UVic broadcast team within the corners Halloween special. Happy Halloween. Keep it real.